One of the things I've found that really helps me get through those difficult situations is tapping into my existing networks that I have. Flooding on this farm's fairly common, but recently we experienced multiple flooding events. It was a prolonged wet period that really went beyond anything that we'd actually experienced before and really pushed the farm to its capabilities. My name's Justin Walsh. I'm a dairy farmer from Jasper's Brush. Our farm's on the south coast of New South Wales. We milk 350 cows and we're farming on about 420 acres. Network to me is just people I interact with on a daily basis. This includes product suppliers, vets, agronomists, nutritionists, or other farmers, and then also friends and family. It's not really a formal thing, it's just something that evolves over time. When you're in a flooding situation, and you tend to lean on those networks because I find that the stress and pressure of the situation might mean that you might not mentally be as sharp as you would normally be. So to be able to lean on other people to help me make decisions that in a normal situation I'd be perfectly capable of managing, but in a situation that we experienced in 2022, that was beyond what I could handle. So without those network connections, it would have been incredibly difficult to make good decisions because it was just totally overwhelming at the time.
The value of networks in recovery can't be understated. My name's Jane Woolacott. I'm an Extension Advisor and Farm Engagement Lead with Dairy Australia. As a service provider, I've been involved in a couple of emergency response situations. Most recently was the really severe floods in northern New South Wales. And my role with Dairy Australia was to contact our dairy farmers up in that area. And we're often looking to see what the damage has been and what assistance the farmer needs.
One of the most valuable resources is talking to other farmers. We're all trying different things and experimenting, trying to find solutions, and so we're happy to share information with one another about what has worked and also, importantly, what hasn't worked. I often said to other farmers that there was no good ideas left, but it was just a matter of what's our least worst option.
I think the most effective type of assistance that you can offer someone in your network after a disaster actually really depends on the person who needs the assistance. For some people, it might just be getting on the phone and saying, "Are you okay? What do you need?" For other people, it is going to be coming down that driveway and turning up on their farm and just doing whatever they need done on that day.
Building networks when you don't necessarily need the networks is critically important. You can't get to a crisis situation or a challenging situation and then look to build the networks. You're not in the mental headspace, or I certainly was not in the mental headspace to be, relationship building when there's 300 acres underwater and you're wondering where the cows are going to get fed the next day.
One of the ways that industry service providers can assist in farmer network building is to bring groups together for discussion groups and field days. Although these are really organised formal events, they actually provide a really informal space for farmers to connect with each other. Service providers have a very broad range of contacts themselves, and so they can certainly put farmers in touch with people who can help them out in a vast array of situations.
I do understand it can be very difficult for farmers to receive help at times. I had to overcome the idea that because there was people worse off than me, that we weren't in a bad situation. As time's gone on, I've got more and more comfortable with help going both ways, but that's a concept that I've had to grow into as I've matured.
One of the things service providers will find when they call someone after a natural disaster is that the dairy farmer always thinks there's someone worse off than them. Someone else needs the help. But actually, there's plenty of help to go around. And because a dairy farmer accepts help, it doesn't mean that there won't be help for someone else. But I think what we've observed is that farmers that are part of a network and have been involved themselves in giving help to other farmers, they're more likely to ask for help when the need arises. And that really goes a long way to helping them recover. And I think it really highlights the value of having a solid network in place.
Leaning on my networks in the time when I desperately needed them has actually sped up our recovery process, because the ability to be able to make good decisions in rapid succession can make a huge impact on your initial outcomes might be as well as your longer term outcomes. As we experience more extreme weather conditions, who knows what the future might hold. So I think that potentially or likely that the value of networks might only increase over time.